Little Kabul, Fremont, California, is the most heavily populated city of Afghan people in all of California, probably in all of the United States. And the question is, when people come here, people from all walks of life, will they get a taste of the Afghan culture, what Kabul might be like back home here, right here in Little Kabul? I'm here in a store called Little Bazaar, and it's a nice retail shop where you can find really all sorts of veils, Afghan jewelry, authentic Afghan clothing, and many other things. Lots of cool knickknacks, things like that, where you can't find at Macy's, you know? I'm here with Ghezal, and her parents own the shop. And she grew up here. She grew up within Fremont.
Been living here since 1984, 85 in Fremont.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Mm-hmm.
And however, now I live in Southern California, and you can't find this in Southern California just because most Afghans aren't concentrated in one area. They're all spread out in LA, San Diego, the Inland Empire. So you don't have something where you can just go and just shop and eat and see other Afghans in one particular location. So yeah, I would say Little Kabul does offer that to Afghans who are from there. My generation, I don't think we really remember Afghanistan. I was 1 year old when I left, so I don't have any memories. I have nothing to relate this place to. But I'd say it is probably the closest thing you can get to Afghanistan, simply because if you want to go eat kebabs, you go there. If you want bread, I always come over here and get bread, and I take it back to everyone back over there. I take a lot of bread simply because they can't get that over there, nor are they willing to drive an hour and a half to Orange County to get it. So yeah, this place would be like Afghanistan, back home, and the clothes and everything else. Musicians always come here, and you can get CDs from them.
A lot of musicians from Kabul, is that true?
I wouldn't say particularly Afghan artists from Kabul, but Afghan musicians in general. They'll come here to dine when they have a concert. You go a block away from the street, and you got the Flamingo, where there's concerts all the time. People have their weddings here. They have graduations. They have everything, celebrations and whatnot. Another thing is, when you go other places, you don't really run into Afghans, especially where I live in Southern California. I never get to see Afghans. So when I come here, it's good to know that there's people from my country, and these are their businesses. They came, and whatever successes they had there, and they lost because they had to come to a different country. Now that they have their own business, and you want to support them as well. So after 9/11, everybody was here. The news media, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, they were here. When there was something going on in Afghanistan, they'd come here to interview anybody that they can get a hold of. And unfortunately, as the news about Afghanistan kind of dwindled and Iraq became the same, the big story, we don't see that. We don't see the same focus that they had on our community. But for a time, I'd say in 02 and 01, you could see your uncle, your cousins, yourself being interviewed on TV all the time, because this is where they came to, find Afghans, and everybody knew that.
Did you get claustrophobic here because it's so heavily populated and it's such a small community?
Some people may feel claustrophobic because they're more part of the Afghan culture and they look more Afghan. I've always been mistaken for a non-Afghan, so I also pretty Americanized, so I've never had the opportunity to feel claustrophobic, that everybody knows what's going on in my life, because I've isolated myself from all those factors. So I've never had that issue before.
Ghezal, what is the comparison between Kabul in Afghanistan and Little Kabul in Fremont? How are they similar, and how are they different?
Well, I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask, simply because I was only 1 year old when I left the country, and I lived in England for a few years before we moved here. So I don't really have that connection to my country or those life experiences where I can say, oh, this reminds me of that reminds me of this. So this has served kind of as a substitute, as kind of like a motherland for you, this area, simply because it is the only connection you will have to your own country. But from people that I've spoke to, our country's dilapidated right now. It's in awful condition, and it has been. So to have something where you can go to a store safely and purchase Afghan products and eat Afghan food without having to worry about the water, about the health of the food, whether you're gonna make it out, I think that is a positive, the fact that we have a Little Kabul here.
So the good thing about Little Kabul is that you really have your culture preserved here. You walk down the street, you can get Afghan food, you can get Afghan clothing, you can get a piece of the country right here in Fremont. And so, what are some of the downfalls?
Some of the downfalls about living or being in this area is the fact that you don't have the privacy that you may have in an area that most Afghans don't live. Because a non-Afghan is a stranger. They're not going to care what's going on in your life, in your personal life, so you don't have that issue to worry about. And in our culture, we always make assumptions about people. So I would say that's pretty much the downside, because you always run into somebody who knows you or knows someone who is related to you. So the lack of privacy, I guess, would be the major downside about living or being near Little Kabul.
I left Afghanistan earlier. I went to Southeast Asia for a while. I was never in Afghanistan during the war. I left Afghanistan in 1971 when I graduated from the high school.
When you turn 18, you must join the army. And that's it. And usually at the time, to join army was kind of one-way ticket. You go, you fight, you don't know you're fighting. As you see, this picture was taken in 1979, half an hour before I leave my country and my family, which is after this picture, I never seen my dad again. And very memories picture I have. And at the time of invasion of Afghanistan, I had two options: either go to join the army, or either leave my family and my country. And I left the country.
That's my father, that's 65 years ago. That picture was taken, and my mom there. Well, I came to the Bay Area in 1987. Actually, I came to the States in 1979. I lived in New York for 7 years, and then I came here. We were some of the very first, immigrants that came to the United States. And we have the most Afghan population in the United States, actually outside of Pakistan and Iran. In the States we have the most Afghan population in Fremont. In Fremont, I came in 1987 and I started a little business here, and thank God that it's so popular and so famous because of the kebabs and stuff. And then I represent Afghanistan. I represent because I love my country and I want to represent it to the Americans, to the rest of the world, where we come from, what we have, what's our culture, and so I represent that through the food, through the restaurant that I have.
Why should non-Afghans visit Little Kabul?
If they want something that's from Afghanistan or it's Afghan, they come to Little Kabul because we represent Afghanistan. We have about 50 businesses between 4 blocks. So that's how they want to come here. If they want to buy embroidery, carpet, they want to eat something, they want to buy a naan, or they want to, shop around, that's how they come to Little Kabul.
They make rugs by hand. This is a perfect example of how a little rug can turn into something really huge. But as you can see, look at the detail, look at the hard work. I mean, this is authentic rug making. What is this area? What is the general sense of this area?
This area? All the trouble is right now is this part of the country, right here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like see Helmand, Nimroz, Kandahar,
Yeah.
Farah,
Uh-huh.
Zabul, Paktia. This is in Ghazni,
Yeah.
in Paktia,
Uh-huh.
in Logar. This is in Ningarar. This is border of kind of Pakistan, right? And this is Nuristan right here. Nuristan is Parwan. Parwan is the capital of Panjshir area. So everything, all the troubles right now, fightings are right here. Because they have easy access to the border of Pakistan and Iran. Iran is right here, Iraq, neighbor of Iran. So this is Daryai Amur, you know that river, Amur river between Russia and Afghanistan. This is the most beautiful part of Afghanistan, Badakhshan.
So are the Pashtuns here?
Well, yeah, that's Kandahar and Elman is most of.
And
Pashtuns
Iraq
live.
is Pashtun and Pashtun?
Iraq, no, Iraq's not Pashtun. Iraqis, they're like Farsi. They speak Farsi.
Wow, and Bamyan, that's...
And I would not really want to say Pashtuns or whatever. All I can say is this part is terrible Taliban's.
This is all the
Stronghold,
Taliban area.
right? That's where they're all fighting start because.
Wow.
Because they're the neighbor of Pakistan.
This is a picture that was taken in 2002, and I think the picture says it all. These kids are making toys out of wood, and they've made wooden guns and machine guns. It kind of just shows you the conditions of the country.
So after 9/11, there was so much focus about this part of Fremont because there were so many Afghans, and so it start, the media start coming here, and they kind of called it Little Kabul.
This is the epitome of Afghan and American assimilation. You see an American doll, and there's been a burqa made for her to fit this little doll. Look at that. It's incredible.
What time? I can have it in 1 hour, my friend. No, I can do it sooner. Okay, so chapati and chicken, do you want rice included with that? This side, all right?
So today I was coming up with
Is this your first time in Little Kabul?
Yes, actually. I just really enjoy the food and the community and the people.
Why Little Kabul? What do you like about Little Kabul?
The delicious food. And the real sense of community that you're able to have in America. When you're a transplant here in America, and especially being people of color and obviously now from the Middle East, you definitely want to seek out other people who know your experiences, who follow your religion, and who sort of, can bring a little piece of home back to you here in the U.S.
Why should American people come to Little Kabul? What are they missing as a result of not coming here?
Well, we're all Americans because we live here.
Yeah.
But if you're not of Afghan American descent, if you're not from Afghanistan, an old world style of hospitality, of food, culture exists here because they have all of the elements of a family that comes from Afghanistan right here in one block, and it makes a big difference because when, for example, like myself, I live in San Francisco, living on my own, living in a city filled with diversity, we don't have that many wonderful Afghan spots to go to and reconnect with. So it's a really good place to come and reconnect with your roots if you do have them, and reconnect with some type of new, very colorful, rich culture for the first time if you have that experience. Right?
Yeah. You know what the best part about Little Kabul is that this is like the beginning, right? In 30 years, people aren't going to see authentic homemade food by hand. There's going to be, people are going to get bigger, they're going to have money, they're going to be able to hire other people. You have actual Afghans making actual food from scratch. That is like so thrilling that we get to see this, that the younger generation, they don't.
Yeah, that's true.
That's exciting. I mean, I'm not around it all the time, so when I do come, I can really appreciate it. There's the sense of when you live here, you're immersed in it, it's not authentic. It's true. So that's really cool that yourself and I, we can step back, have that freedom to live your life, come back and be like, wow, this is what it's about. It really is the art of taking the good and leaving what you don't think is so good.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that exciting? Aren't we lucky?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to come here.
Yeah.
But I think everybody and every community needs that.
They do.
It's necessary. It's not necessarily luck. It's necessary for your growth and your health and your well-being to be able to reconnect with where you come from.
Yeah. It feels safe to do it. You think of Little Kabul, what comes to mind?
I think of home, of family, good food, and just a sense of community. Being raised as Afghan American in San Diego, you want something that's familiar to what you grew up with, and whether it be the food or the groceries or the stores that line the streets, it's just something that's familiar to. Because I did grow up in a family, I am from Kabul, my family does cook and eat this way, so to get the groceries and to get the community and all the at-home benefits that you do when you go home, you only have to be able to go onto the bark and come down here.
I haven't actually been able to look at very much of it. We just came here to eat first, but the food is fantastic, and I really enjoy Afghan food, so I'm happy. My stomach's happy, and it's a short ride away from San Francisco, so it's worth it to come out here for a day trip and check it out. We have some good food.
It was before I was a year old that I came to the United States, but I haven't been back since.
Is Little Kabul a good feel of what the Afghan community is like?
Yes, it's very much a good depiction of the Afghan American community in America, whether you be in San Diego or in Fremont or even in Virginia or in New York. When you come into a restaurant or a grocery store or something of the like here in the area, you get the sense of community, you get the language, you get the smells, and it's something that's endearing because that's what really brings you back, that sense of familial.
My memories are beautiful, from that time. That's why I never travel back, because I want to remember it the way it was.
What was Afghanistan like before the war?
Before the war, it was peaceful. It was beautiful. Okay, it was just That was just beautiful. I mean, peace. Peace is beautiful. War is, nobody want to see war, nobody want to feel war, but unfortunately we had war for 25 years, and that's why, I never traveled back to Afghanistan yet, because I want to remember Afghanistan the way it was when I left.